Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of Python series. I hope you all are doing well. In the previous video we learned what is coding and what Python is. So today we're going to learn about the basics of Python. So for starters, let's learn about the print command. So this print function basically prints a specified message on the screen. The message or the line should be enclosed within the brackets. And suppose if you need the exact message on the screen, it should be enclosed within the quotes. As shown here, print within the brackets and within the quotes hello world. So in the output, hello world will be printed. There is one more kind of print where we use it without the quotes. It's used when there is a variable called x. For example, let's see here. In input, when I give x is equal to 2, we are assigning the value 2 to a variable x. And when we use the function print x without the quotes, in the output 2 will come, not x, because we are not given within the quotes. And this is known as using the print command without the quotation marks. So whenever we use this, the value of the variable will be printed in the output. Suppose we use the quotes to print the value of variable. We'll use the same input, x is equal to 2, but this time we'll use print within the quotes x. This time x will be printed because we are given within the quotes, so the exact message will be printed in the output. 2 won't be printed, and if you want the 2 to be printed, you have to follow the same function, print within the brackets x without the quotes. Remember this, you can use both the single and double quotes in the print statement. It won't interfere with the result. As you can see here, I have used double quotes, print x, it's within the double quotes. You can use single quotes and it won't interfere with the results. There is one silly mistake that many people do. It is while they use the function print, they use the capital P instead of the small letter p. Remember this, the print function can only work when the print command is all in small letters. Suppose if you use the capital P in the command, it will show error. This is because Python is a case sensitive language, which means that the programming language has ability to distinguish between uppercase and lowercase letters in a computer system software. I'll just show you for an example. Now currently I'm using this Python online compiler. It's available online. It's free for everyone to use. I'm using this so it will be easy to understand. To use Python shell and idle, we'll be showing you in the future videos. This will be easier for everyone to learn and access. Suppose this is how you use the print command. So this is where you write the input in main py and it shows the output here. So let's write print, and within the brackets and within the quotes I want the exact message to be printed, and I'll write hello world, close the quote and the bracket, and if you run here you'll get the hello world message. Now suppose instead of using the small letter p and I give a capital letter P, let's see what happens. As you can see, it's showing an error. It's because Python is a case sensitive language, as you have learned. Even if it's a small difference in the letter of the lowercase or uppercase, it shows an error. Now let's get back to the PPT and learn more. Now before we learn about the different print functions such as separate and end, we have to know what is a string. A string is a sequence of characters. It can be a combination of letters, numbers and special symbols enclosed within the quotes. These quotes are not a part of the string because they only define the starting and the ending of print. Strings over multiple lines can be done using the Python triple quotes. It can also be used for long comments in code. Now let's go back to the Python online compiler. So now let's print the same command which we used in the last one. Let's use print within the bracket and quotes hello world, close the bracket and the quote, and let's do run. As you can see here, the hello world is a string. The print is not a part of the string, it's a command, and the quotes are not a part of the string because it only, so this quote tells the starting of the string and this quote tells the ending of the string. That's why the quotes are not here in the output. So we know that string is a combination of letters, numbers and symbols. So instead of hello world, let's use hello user 1 2 3 4 and let's use a special symbol Let's use hashtag. Give a space and run. See, as you can see, it even accepts number and symbols. There's no much difference here. Now there's one thing we need to learn, the print command. Suppose I want to print hello world and I want to print in the next line, how are you? Suppose I print in the next line, how are you? And I close the bracket and the quote. Do you think the same result will come in this one, in the output? Take a gap and just think, will it work or not? Now I'm going to use the run. As you can see, it shows an error. Because hello world is in one line and how are you is in the next line. It doesn't work like that, because these quotes only work for a single string or a single line. So if you want a multi-line string which comes for 3 lines or 3 or 4 lines more, we have to use the triple quotes. And for triple quotes, we use it as this. You can use 3 double quotes or 3 single quotes. It shows the same result. So for this one, I'm going to use double quotes, 3 double quotes, 1, 2, 3, and I'll use hello everyone. And I'll go in the next line and I print how are you, and I had to close the string. So I'll use the 3 double quotes again, 1, 2, 3, and I'll close the bracket. Now you're going to see that it actually works. So if you want this string to be for more than one line, we have to use the triple quotes. And now for your understanding, I'm going to even use single quotes, because there's no going to be any difference in the result if you use double quote or single quote. As you can see, I've changed everything from double quote to single quote here. As you can see, the same result is going to come anyway. Now we have learned about this. Now that we have learned what is a string, now let us learn the different syntax of print in Python. The first one we are going to learn is a separate argument, or the sep argument. It separates the print value by inserting the given value between them. It must be specified and used at the end of the string. If you use it in between the string, it will show you an error. Now let's again use the Python online compiler. Now, to use a sep argument, I'm going to write print, and within the brackets, I'm going to just use how are you, and I'm going to use how are you in 3 different strings, small strings. How, close the quote, comma, again open the quote for how are. As you can see, I used the how are you in 3 different strings. How are you are in their own separate quotes. And now to use the sep argument, you have to first give a comma, use sep is equal to, and sep is equal to can be in double quotes or single quotes. It won't interfere with the result. So I'm going to use single quote here. And now I want a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 between how are you. So I'll use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again quote, and I'll close the bracket. Now when I use the run function, as you can see here, it changes the with comma. In place of comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comes here. How 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you. It doesn't come at the end. You have to remember that. The sep argument even accepts letters, symbols, anything. Now suppose I use the symbol @. As you can see, how @r @u. It doesn't come any difference. Now suppose, and every time you have to remember that you have to use the sep argument at the end. You should never use it in between. Suppose I use it in between and I'll add one more string as how are you. Let's add a string Alex, and I'll close the string here, and let's run it. As you can see, it shows an error because the sep is in between of all the strings. It's not at end of the string. And you can even use this for numbers. Now let's use for numbers. It will be much simpler for you to understand. Suppose I use 10, 20, 30, 40. and let's just set argument equal to, and within the quotes let's use the symbol. Let's not use any symbol, we can just give a space. I can give lot of space and I can close the symbol. Let's see what will happen. Sorry, I just used an extra bracket. As you can see, it gives equal space between 10, 20 and 30 and 40. So even if you leave blank, it takes that as a value and changes it with comma. Now since you have learned this, let's learn about the different syntax of print. So now we are going to learn about the end parameter. Now end function prints once all the values in the given print statement is printed. If the end function is used between the string, it will show an error. Now let's give an example. In input, I write print hi within the quotes, comma, end is equal to exclamatory mark. As you can see in the output, the exclamatory mark comes at the end. Suppose you want any value to be come in the end, suppose a symbol, anything, can use this end. Suppose there we'll use two print function here. Print within the brackets hi, comma, end is equal to exclamatory mark, and the next line shows print how are you. And here hi, exclamatory mark and how are you come in the same line, because in the end function this is speciality here. After using the end function, it doesn't go to the next line, it remains in the same line. Suppose if we didn't do this with the end function and we just used print hi and print how are you, those two will come in separate lines, but here they're coming in the same line. Now suppose you wanted hi and how are you in two different lines using the end function. We are going to use this simple technique with slash and n. The slash and n represents the new line. So after using the end exclamatory mark and when you put slash n, it goes to a new line, the input, and it just prints how are you. Suppose I write hi how are you and put end exclamatory question mark slash n, and the next one I write print I'm fine. It will come here how are you question mark I'm fine. The same basic concept everywhere. Now we are going to learn about token. A token is the smallest individual unit in a Python program, and all statements and instructions in a program are built with tokens. And there are various tokens in Python, and they are identifiers, operators, keywords, and delimiters. Now first, we are going to learn about identifiers. Identifiers are the name given to any variable, function, class, list, methods for their identification. Python is a case-sensitive language and it has some rules and regulations to name an identifier. Here are some rules to name an identifier. Now before we learn about the rules to name an identifier, here are simple identifiers. Example ABC, name, Alex, 123. Anything can work. It's the same as variable. So to name a variable or an identifier, there are few rules that you have to keep in mind. And those few rules are: identifier starts with a capital letter and a small letter or an underscore. It can never start with a number or any other symbol. Except for letters and underscore, digits can also be a part of identifier, but they can't be the first character of it. And no other special characters can be used except the underscore. And you have to remember that even in an identifier, Python is a case-sensitive language. So even if you use a capital letter or small letter, it makes a big difference. Suppose in one I write Alex in small letters, and in another one I write Alex in all capital letters. Those two are separate variables, they are not the same variable. Now that we know what is an identifier, you don't need to learn much about identifier, you just know how to name an identifier. Because many people use numbers at the starting itself, so it comes an error in their output. So now, what's a keyword? Keywords are words that have special meaning or significance in a programming language. They can't be used as variable names or function names or any other random purpose. They are the reserved words. They already have special features and special functions to them. In Python, we have 33 keywords, and some of them are try, false, class, break, and even print. Print is actually a keyword. Now, we're going to learn what's literals. Literals are the fixed value or data items used in source code. It can be defined as a number, text, or other data that represent the value stored in variable. Python supports different types of variables such as string literal, boolean literal, literal collection, and numeric literals. You don't need to learn about different type of literals. This is just for your information. So I'm just going to talk about little about them. String literals. They are the text written in single, double or triple quotes. They represent the string literal in Python. For example, when you write computer science in double quotes or when you write Sam in double quotes, they are known as string literals. We can also use triple quotes to write multi-line strings. And next we're going to learn about numeric literals. They are the literals written in the form of numbers. For example, we may use p is equal to within quotes 1, 2, 3 or Alex is equal to within quotes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boolean literals. They have only two values in Python that are true and false. You're going to learn about Boolean literals in the future, so you don't need to worry much about that. You just need to know the different type of literals, that's it. And the last one, literal collection. Literal collection includes list, tuple, dictionary and sets. You don't need to worry about this when we learn about the different function about list and dictionary in the future. Now, we're going to learn what's operators. They are the tokens responsible for performing an operation in expression on the given value and give out the result. The variables on which operation is applied are called operands, such as asterisk, minus, plus and slash. The asterisk symbol is used for multiplication. Because there's no multiplication symbol in the keyboard, we use the asterisk symbol to represent the multiplication, and the slash is used for division. Last one, we are going to learn about punctuators. They are the symbols that are used in Python to organize the structures, statements and expressions. They are called delimiters. They are also used to separate a value or enclose some value within them, such as square brackets, flower brackets, colon and semicolon. That's it for today guys. It's a very short video, I know that, but we are slowly going to improve a lot. So in the next class we're going to learn more about variables in Python. I hope you'll be very excited for that. That's it for today guys. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.